Phaistos, also Phastos and Phastos, was an ancient city on the island of Crete. Map of Minoan Crete. Phaistos was located in the south-central portion of the island, about 3.5 miles from the sea. It was inhabited from about 4000 BC. A palace, dating from the Middle Bronze Age, was destroyed by an earthquake during the Late Bronze Age. Knossos and other Minoan sites were also destroyed at that time. The palace was later rebuilt toward the end of the Late Bronze Age. The area upon which Phaistos stood was the site where, in 1908, a curious clay disc, dating to about 1700 BC, and containing a sophisticated pictographic writing, was discovered. Its purpose and meaning, and even its original geographical place of manufacture, remain disputed. The Phaistos disc was discovered in the basement of room XL101 of the Minoan Palace site of Phaistos, near Hagia Triada, on the south coast of Crete. Italian archaeologist Luigi Pernier recovered this remarkably intact dish, about 15 centimeters in diameter and uniformly just over 1 centimeter thick, on July 3, 1908. Luigi Pernier discovered the disc during his excavation of the first Minoan palace. It was found in the main cell of an underground temple depository. These basement cells, only accessible from above, were neatly covered with a layer of fine plaster. Their context was poor in precious artifacts but rich in black earth and ashes, mixed with burnt bovine bones. In the northern part of the main cell, a few inches southeast of the disc, and about 20 inches above the floor, linear A tablet pH1 was also found. The site apparently collapsed as a result of an earthquake, possibly linked with the explosive eruption of the Santorini volcano that affected large parts of the Mediterranean region ca. 1628 BC. Physical description can be explained as, the inscription was made by pressing preformed hieroglyphic seals into the soft clay, in a clockwise sequence spiraling towards the disc's center. It was then baked at high temperature. There are a total of 241 figures on the disc. Many of the 45 different glyphs represent easily identifiable everyday things, including human figures, fish, birds, insects, plants, a boat, a shield, a staff, etc. In addition to these, there is a small diagonal line that occurs underneath the final sign in a group a total of 18 times. The disc shows traces of corrections made by the scribe in several places. Although there is no official Unicode encoding for the symbols on the disc, the Conscript Unicode Registry has assigned a block of the Unicode private use area to be used for the script. Two fonts include support for this area, Code 2000 and Everson Mono Phaistos. A fired clay disc from the 2nd millennium BC may finally have had some of its markings decoded. The mysterious Phaistos disc, found in 1908 in a palace called Phaistos on the island of Crete, contains symbols on both sides, in a spiral configuration meant to be read from the outside toward the center. It is estimated to date from about 1700 BC for better than a century. Scientists have been trying to decode the meaning behind the symbols, and now Dr. Gareth Owens, of the Technological Educational Institute of Crete, says he has figured out some of its keywords and the general message it conveys. Using specific groups of symbols, Owens says one side of the disc contains the translated wording Great Lady of Importance while the other uses the expression Pregnant Mother. One side, Owens says, is dedicated to a pregnant woman and the other to a woman giving birth. There are a number of glyphs marked with an oblique stroke. The strokes are not imprinted but carved by hand and are attached to the first or last sign of a word, depending on the direction of reading chosen. Their meaning is a matter of discussion. One hypothesis, supported by Evans, Dukes, Ulnroth and others, is that they were used to subdivide the text into paragraphs, but alternative meanings have been offered by other scholars. Direction of reading may be, from the diverse epigraphical facts, overcuts, angulus points of the spirals, corrections, etc., it can be shown that the text has been written from the exterior to the center. The fact that most of the corrections were done on the spot, and other epigraphical facts, are showing that the scribe was composing his text in proportion as he was printing it. There is therefore no way to dissociate the direction of printing from the direction of reading. A great deal of speculation developed around the disc during the 20th century to decipher the Hephaestus disc, which captured the imagination of amateur archaeologists. Alas, some of the more fanciful interpretations of its meaning are living classics of pseudo-archaeology. Many attempts have been made to decipher the code behind the disc's glyphs. Historically, almost anything has been proposed, including prayers, a narrative or an adventure story, a satyrion, a call to arms, a board game, and a geometric theorem. While many enthusiasts still believe the mystery can be solved, scholarly attempts at decipherment are thought to be unlikely to succeed unless more examples of the glyphs turn up somewhere, as it is generally thought that there isn't enough context available for meaningful analysis. This general opinion is nevertheless disputed by several scholars on the basis of the work of the mathematician Claude Shannon. Shannon's theory about the unicity distance states that, in theory, the text's length is sufficient for reaching only one decipherment that makes sense. The problem is, however, that once there are reasons to think that a valid solution has been found, it is necessary to verify this solution by all means possible, generally by deciphering another text written in the same script, to be sure about it. Unfortunately, until today no second disc was found, what makes the verification difficult. Some of the symbols were pictographs, which means they represented the object depicted. Others functioned as ideograms in which the picture of, say, a boat, no longer means boat but expresses an idea like travel. However, such associations of the object with its main qualities, uses, or features were usually direct, quite obvious, and widely recognized. Pictographs and ideograms are also usually much easier to understand intuitively than the syllabic and/or phonetic systems of writing which evolve from them as a means of expressing more abstract ideas in a particular language. The uniqueness of this archaeological object is contested by at least two other apparently related specimens, a votive double axe found by Spyridon Marinatos in the Archela Ori cave, Crete, and a fragment of a smaller clay disc, found at Vladikavkaz, North Ossetia. But both inscriptions were engraved, not made with stamps. Moreover, the first contains only superficially similar hieroglyphics, and the second, interesting as it might prove, disappeared mysteriously. So far, the Hephaestus disc remains a Hypax. This unique object is now on display at the Archaeological Museum of Heraklion in Crete, Greece. Scientists have been trying to decipher the mysterious Hephaestus disc ever since the 4,000-year-old clay disc was discovered in 1908 on the Greek island of Crete. But no one seems to have been able to translate the mysterious language inscribed on the disc, which dates back to 1700 BC and the height of the Minoan civilization, until now. Dr. Gareth Owens, who has been studying what he cheekily refers to as the first Minoan CD-ROM, has figured out not only what the language sounded like but also some of the meaning it conveys, Discovery News reported. In collaboration with John Coleman, professor of phonetics at Oxford, we spent 6 years producing the best possible reading, Owens, a linguist researcher with the Technological Educational Institute of Crete, told the Huffington Post in an email. The disc can be read in a spiral direction from the outside rim to the inside. Using what previous studies have shown about Cretan hieroglyphics, and the scripts Minoan Linear A and Mycenaean Linear B from ancient Greece, the researcher was able to identify 3 key words. Ikerja, which may mean pregnant mother and/or goddess. Ike, which may mean mother and/or goddess and which appears repeatedly on the disc. Ikepage or Ikefe, which may mean shining mother or goddess. Owens concluded that the disc may contain a prayer to a Minoan goddess. The goddess mother has been suspected for a century because of what we think we know about Minoan religion, but the point was to prove it linguistically, Owen said in the email. The proof is in the pudding. Reference, Thomas Balestier, The Phaistos Disc, an account of its unsolved mystery.